Good morning. On this week's episode of The Professor, that is a perfect example of how we should stop posting perfection. This week's episode of Haston Helping Hands, I'm Jen Haston and I'm going to start this over. You can't start over in live though, so if you make a mistake, you just have to keep going. I want to talk about the notion of stop posting perfection and to ask for help when you need it. And those two things go hand in hand because obviously if you're posting perfection, everything is great, you don't need any help, and you're perfect. Nobody is. And I think it's really time that we all just admit that. Now, I have seen a lot of stuff posted in the last year and a half where people have said, I'm really struggling. I'm struggling with my mental health. I'm having problems. Like, this is very difficult for me to be in lockdown. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. All of these things have compounded to help us be a little bit more transparent about what we're going through. And I think that that's tremendous. I think that that is something to be celebrated. The temptation, though, is so strong to look good and in online and in person. And I think that it's something that we all need to give up. We need to stop posting perfection because a lot of times people are posting things like, this is a great picture of my Instagram, perfect, like the filter is great, the sunlight is awesome, but 5 minutes before that, the kid was crying, the mom was crying, and the dad and mom were fighting. Speaking of that, it would be really easy to stand here and tell you that my husband and I are about to hit 10 years of being married and we never fight. Not true. We fight. We have discussions. Sometimes they're very high volume discussions. And we go to counseling, which is something that I share with you with his permission. And we work on our marriage because it's definitely not perfect. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think that people do not talk enough about how partnership is difficult, and how marriage is difficult, and how making that choice every single day to stop posting perfection in your own marriage and like actually talk about the problems that plague you is important. And we just, as a society, don't talk about it. People will post a picture and say, you know, we're here, we're doing this, and you know, it's okay if that's not your jam and you don't want to talk about your personal problems. I think Brene Brown says it beautifully, which is that, you know, vulnerability is great, but vulnerability without boundaries is not so great. And I'm paraphrasing, that's not her exact quote. I'll make sure to clean that up in the future. But the idea is that if you have boundaries, that's amazing. Being vulnerable is great. It doesn't mean you tell everybody everything. And the reason that I feel so strongly about this is because some of the best interactions I've had with people, they've posted something where it's like things did not go as well as I thought. So I'll private message them and be like, oh gosh, I totally feel you. I've been there. I'm a part of several parenting groups that talk about that, where it's just like, that is not what happened at all. And so I've really tried my best to shy away from posting those perfect pictures. And yes, I will post a picture of me and my daughter looking super cute because she does. But that's not the whole story. You know, most of the time when you see that picture, it's because people have, you know, prodded and pulled and like, you know, made sure that everybody's smiling, even though that's not the real picture. And my friend Chelsea Turner Avery posted something earlier this week that just really hit hard with me. She had posted about how she had these Instagram ready pictures ready for her post about this great vacation that they had taken. But then she said, no, that vacation was not great. We struggled. We had problems and it was difficult and it really sucked. And I don't know, there's just something about that level of vulnerability that really hits me right here and makes me want to be more vulnerable myself. And I feel like that's the thing that we could all do a little bit better of, right? That's one of the reasons that every week I make a post for high-low. And I started that last year when I flew to Philadelphia for my Papa Joe's memorial. And I had to sing at his funeral. It was my honor to do so. And I was really struggling because it wasn't last year because we weren't traveling last year in the pandemic. It was 2 years ago. And was really struggling with that because I was delighted to be on a plane because I love to travel. I was horrified at the reason. I was honored to be singing at his funeral. I was honored to be asked. I was really grateful to be a part of his life, that I was that important. It was also really horrible to me that weekend, because that weekend I lost my voice and I recovered it in time, but it was very, very scary stuff. And that was one thing I did not share until after it was all over, because I was freaking out about whether I was going to be able to sing or not. That was a very stressful time. And I thought about him yesterday because of an innate connection that we share to music. And it would not be honest of me to make this post without talking about the fact that we all have the ability to be there for people and to reach out and to say, you know what, I see that you're struggling. What can I do? And sometimes you don't have that ability because you yourself are struggling so much, and that's okay. This is for a time when you are feeling good and you can reach out to somebody else who isn't. I'm inviting you to do that. And part of Stop Posting Perfection is telling you that this week I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling. It's been a lot to think about Papa Joe. There have been some struggles personally, and I'm going through that. And this is where the boundaries come in, because I'm not enumerating them for you, but I'll tell you that it's just been a rough week so far, and it's only Wednesday. So I'm going to reach out to my support system and ask for help. And also, I'm sure that this feeling will pass. And I feel like it's best to be honest and to tell you where I'm at. So, ladies and gentlemen, my message this week is to stop posting perfection, and that starts with me. I'm telling you right now that I'm struggling. I'm admitting a difficulty, and I hope that this helps to encourage you to stop posting perfection and to stop looking good online and in person. Let people know where you are. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Haston Helping Hands, and I'm Jen Haston. Thank you.